What's good, guys? Haben here, back with another solo video. Today I'll be reviewing the top 10 best antagonists in the big three. Antagonists do a great job of keeping the MC on their toes and could easily be the reason for why an anime could be successful or a bust. But what makes a good antagonist? Character design, theme song, how much they truly antagonize the MC. Don't worry, as I'll make sure to explain properly why each antagonist deserves its spot, starting with our honorable mentions. In no specific order, the demon of the hidden mist, Zabuza. Zabuza is probably the best first villain in the big three, since his character actually had depth and complexity to it, especially in the end of the Land of the Wave arcs, where he shows his true character, and he really showed how truly scary and harsh ninjas can be in the world of Naruto. Next, we have Blackbeard. Now, One Piece fans, relax, hear me out for a second. Blackbeard is a great villain in One Piece for sure, but when you compare him to the big three, he doesn't slip into that top 10. Although his character design is fitting, he was the main cause for Marineford, and he's going off in the manga, not to mention him having two of the strongest devil fruits and will probably be Luffy's biggest rival towards the end of the series. Until I see more on-screen Blackbeard and less off-screen, he stays in the honorable mentions. Finally, Grimmjow, definitely one of the more entertaining antagonists in Bleach. Grimmjow's attitude plus love for fighting strong opponents made him such an enjoyable character to watch and read, along with his dope character design and squabbles he always had with the cast, especially Ichigo. Now that I've concluded my honorable mentions, let's start with number 10, Orochimaru. Although at the 10th spot, Orochimaru is probably one of the most scariest looking on this list. I remember listening to his OST for the first time and I had chills running down my back. And that's not including how disgusting and bizarre he was during OG as well. It's not wrong to say he was the scariest villain in Naruto for sure. His character design, if it wasn't already obvious, reflects his snake-like personality, which is something I really like that authors do when they incorporate characteristics from outside the world like nature into their story. Orochimaru also stays fairly relevant throughout the whole series, from the end of the Ninja War to way back in Chunin exams when he was terrorizing Naruto, Sakura, and Sasuke, just so he can look for a stronger body to increase his lifespan. As of how antagonizing he was to the MC, he's easily one of the more consistent ones, especially to the entire Hidden Leaf. His character never felt stale throughout Naruto, and that's due to his depth and backstory, which kept adding more to his character as the legendary Snake Sannin during the Third Ninja War. But Orochimaru's character ties into the overarching theme like pursuit of power, the conquest of one's choices, and the cycle of hatred and revenge. And having depth to a villain definitely makes the show a lot more enjoyable, which is why he holds the spot for 10th. At 9th, my favorite One Piece villain, Charlotte Katakuri. Oda is known for his very unique character designs throughout One Piece, and I'd say Katakuri definitely falls under it, as he stands at a menacing 16'8", wearing large boots, leather, and a scarf around his face. He's somebody you wouldn't want to deal with. Katakuri hasn't been around throughout the whole series, but in Whole Cake alone, for what this man was doing, he has to be put in at least the top 10. Like I mentioned in a previous video, his introduction was grand. After we watched him menacingly kill someone with a jelly bean to the forehead, it's not crazy to say his methods for killing are quite different than most villains. Katakuri is pretty well written, as he shows loyalty very well throughout the series, constantly protecting family members and putting himself before others, and we even see this in his backstory as he caused his sister Brûle to get hurt. Even his fight with Luffy shows that, a fight between a man who never bows down and a man who always gets back up. Easily a top 3 fight in One Piece, and it's not 2 or 3. The creativity of giving him a Mochi Devil Fruit, along with his advanced observation Haki for combat, was genius because it made Katakuri a lot more entertaining. But don't let this donut munching beast trick you from his more villainous side. The thing that sticks out the most about Katakuri is his code of honor. Despite being a pirate and an antagonist, Katakuri adheres to a strict code of honor. He values fairness and respect for those who challenge him, even going as far to allow his opponents to stand back up after knocking them down. Even Charlotte Flamme injures Luffy, Katakuri, to even the score, injures himself. The sense of honor sets him apart from many other villains in the series, which is why he's at 9th. At 8th, renowned as the world's strongest creature, Kaido. The fact that Kaido's introduction was him trying to off himself, but he was so strong that he couldn't, gives him a legendary status. His bounty alone is the 3rd highest in One Piece, so after watching him put up an S tier performance in Wano, you know he has to be on this list. Took on the 9 Red Scabbards, made half the worst generation pirates his puppies, took on Yamato, knocked out the MC 3 times, and was going toe to toe with Gear 5, all while carrying Onigashima. The icing on the cake is his mythical Zoan dragon type devil fruit that allows him to switch between dragon, man beast, and a hybrid of both. Let's also not forget that Kaido enslaved Wano for 20 years just to build weapons, devil fruits, and to continue growing his army of beast pirates. The world government knew that if they tried to take on Kaido, they'd lose more than gain, so instead, they left him be and used an excuse of Wano not being affiliated with the world government to leave him be. Kaido hasn't necessarily been relevant throughout the story, but he has been built up over a significant portion of the series, creating anticipation and suspense for his eventual confrontation with Luffy and his crew. The fact that his character has been woven into the overarching narrative for such a long time adds weight to the role as an antagonist. Kaido's quest for a worthy death adds depth to his character. He discovers along the journey that he could only die to Joy Boy and has been waiting for his time to come, where he can truly have a worthy adversary to fight to the death with, which he finally receives with Luffy, making him a great antagonist. At 7th, I have none other than Ulquiorra. Unless I'm slow, I think Ulquiorra definitely doesn't get enough love and is considered underrated as he's my favorite antagonist in Bleach. And although he didn't play a major role throughout the series, when Ulquiorra was relevant, he was a great antagonist. Kubo is known for his dope character designs and definitely didn't miss with the Espadas, let alone Ulquiorra, especially with the sick-ass transformations. Fun fact, Ulquiorra sounds similar to El Colora, which means the one who cries in Spanish, and he has lines that look like flowing tears on his face. In Bleach, Ulquiorra undergoes significant character development as he starts off as an emotionless and cold-hearted antagonist, but gradually begins to question his own existence and emotions. His interactions with Ichigo and Orihime lead to deep and thought-provoking discussions about these topics. His final battle with Ichigo especially is poignant and memorable. During the final chapters before Ulquiorra's death, they touch a bit on the heart. Shout out to this guy on Reddit. The heart Ulquiorra is talking about is what Kain described to Rukia in chapter 268, and him saying in the palm of my hands was the heart is a callback to the earlier words that the heart isn't something that can be held in the palm of your hands or seen, and therefore isn't real. So basically, Ulquiorra is saying that the heart, the bonds formed between people which give life meaning, is real. And he finally discovers this after asking Orihime if she's afraid of him. When seeing media like this unfold in front of your eyes, how could you not love a character like this? At 6th, the heavenly demon himself, Doflamingo. No question the most menacing antagonist on this list, and possibly all of anime. I feel like I don't even need to describe Doflamingo, because even if you haven't watched One Piece, he's one of those villains you see shared around the community because there's that much to talk about him, starting with this man's incredibly fitting backstory. As his family was born in the comfort of Mary Joie, adopting the title of World Noble, Doflamingo's father decided to give up the title and live well off with everyone else, until the people resented them due to their long-standing hatred for the World Nobles. From there, it was history. Doflamingo and his family living on the streets eating garbage, lynched and severely beaten, to his mother passing away from an illness, to the nobles rejecting them after asking to return. Everything just kept piling up on top of each other until the spoiled brat snapped. At the age of 10, Doflamingo killed his father and carried his head in an attempt to regain his old status as a world noble, but was rejected as one of a family of traitors by the Celestial Dragons. Since then, he swore revenge on the Celestial Dragons for rejecting him and swore to kill everyone. Since then, Doflamingo has been an incredibly arrogant, prideful, and carefree person, along with his string fruit, which is a crazy touch by Oda, because on Dressrosa, he uses his fruit to strictly control the people on the island, as if he's reclaimed his title of Celestial Dragon, controlling the people at his own will, which shows just how fleshed out Doflamingo is as an antagonist in the world of One Piece. In terms of antagonizing Luffy though, throughout the series, he wasn't very relevant until his arc. But he did pop up here and there to at least add a bit of suspense and mystery for when his character arc did come around. Plus, Dressrosa wouldn't be Dressrosa without Dofi. He was clearly the key piece to making that arc fantastic. His character design though definitely falls under the unique category, but nonetheless a terrifying man to come across. We've reached our top 5 best antagonists in the big 3, starting strong with the man who birthed Ichigo himself, Sosuke Aizen. Easily the most consistent antagonist in terms of antagonizing the MC, Aizen was not only giving Ichigo, but the whole Soul Society a run for their money. Even during the 1000-Year Blood War arc, where he isn't even the main focus at all, he's still being a nuisance to others. After pulling off one of the greatest plot twists in Bleach, Aizen successfully steals the Hogaku trapped in Rukia so he can merge with it and become essentially a god. Without ever needing to see this man's Bankai, Kubo decides to give him something even cooler. A Shikai that can compete with everyone. Kyoka Sugetsu. In other words, complete hypnosis. Guess what happens when you create one of the smartest characters in the verse and give him a Shikai that can control other people's senses? An absolute perfect demon that disrespects anyone that he deems an insect. As you can see, Exhibit A, Exhibit B, Exhibit C, and he does this a lot. Aizen was not playing around. He always wanted to make sure he got what he needed plus tax, and didn't hesitate to use anyone as a stepping stone towards his path of God. Anime villains with god complexes like Aizen and Doflamingo definitely add a bit of spice to the series, and he just has a slight edge over Doflamingo, and that's just the way he manipulates people. Aizen is a master manipulator and strategist. He operates from the shadows, orchestrating complex schemes and deceiving both the characters and the audience. Character design is very jarring, as you don't expect someone like Aizen to have multiple transformations, and even his human form is pretty sick and has everyone going nuts over him. For some of you, Aizen might be a little low, but for me, he sits comfortably at 5th. At 4th, the destroyer of the hidden leaf, Pain, or Nagato, however you want to refer to him. Pain's character design is incredible. From the cloak down to the Rinnegan, even the metal rods around his body add a touch of eeriness. Nagato's backstory for how Pain was to come is also very touching, as his parents were killed right in front of him by a hidden leaf shinobi during the Second Great Ninja War, and he was left helpless. Wandering the streets, he runs into 2 other orphan kids, Konan and Yahiko. The 3 try to survive and grow together during these hard times, and even get trained by Master Jiraiya. But their goal was to achieve great peace between the nations, hence why the Akatsuki was created. But unfortunately, the young group was tricked by Hanzo the Salamander, and Yahiko was killed by Nagato himself. From that day forward, Nagato decided that there's no way to end the cycle of hatred. Only through direct experience of war and all the losses and agonies it brought could anyone truly desire peace, which is one of the 2 reasons they destroyed the Hidden Leaf Village. Obviously, the main reason was to get the Nine-Tailed Fox from Naruto, which ended up giving us a top 5 fight in the series. Pain definitely wasn't antagonizing Naruto until Shippuden, and even then stopped after the Pain arc, so he wasn't very consistent in terms of antagonizing the MC, but the Pain arc itself is still a 10 out of 10 arc for a good reason. One thing that does separate Pain from the other antagonists on this list is his speeches. The speech Pain gives to Naruto about the cycle of hatred is beautiful, as it can relate both in Naruto and in the real world. Pain's motivation is multi-faced and rooted in a desire to bring about change to the world. He seeks to end the cycle of hatred and violence by using extreme measures. His disbelief in the Pain philosophy, which revolves around achieving peace through overwhelming force, creates an intriguing moral dilemma, which explains why Pain is such an amazing antagonist. At 3rd, the child prodigy himself, Itachi Uchiha. Talk about a crazy twist of events for such a well-written character. I know it feels vanilla to have someone like Itachi be your favorite character, but man, he's earned it. At a young age, he was fighting in wars, working under the Anbu Black Ops, mastering the Sharingan, and graduated the academy at the age of 6. It would seem like Itachi would be the Hidden Leaf's secret weapon for future wars, until one night he slaughtered his entire clan except for his younger brother Sasuke and became labeled as a rogue ninja. And for most of the story, we had no clue why. He ended up joining the Akatsuki to terrorize other opposing villages, but it wasn't until after Sasuke got his revenge and finally killed Itachi that the truth came out. The elders from the Hidden Leaf Village asked Itachi to slaughter his clan because the Uchiha village was attempting a coup d'etat against the Hidden Leaf Village to gain status in the village. The choice Itachi made is correct too. Who would you rather save? 100 strangers or 10 of your family members? Logically, saving the 100 strangers makes more sense, hence why Itachi did what he did. Worst part about the Uchiha massacre was the reason why Itachi didn't kill Sasuke was because he wasn't mentally strong enough to kill his younger brother who he loved so dearly. Even then, he would still come from time to time to the village to see the growth of young Sasuke. Unfortunately, Itachi was nerfed with an illness because that's what you gotta do to strong characters. Since Itachi also joined the Akatsuki, he's wearing the robe, but in a cooler way as he sticks his arm out sometimes, and has an overall cool character design as well, solidifying him at 3rd. At 2nd, we have the most misunderstood antagonist in the big 3, Obito Uchiha. I plan on making a separate video for Obito in the future to clear his name, since a lot of people like calling him a simp and that his reasons for war were invalid, but I'll cover a few surface level things here for you. Obito's character design is my favorite in the whole series. The different robes along with his gunbai are pretty sick. The masks he wears are also a great touch too, especially the 4th Great Ninja War mask. In terms of antagonizing the MC, technically he was there since Naruto's birth, but they don't really cover that until Shippuden, so I think that's where we'll start off his story. But since he's orchestrated the whole Akatsuki from behind the scenes, we'll give him bonus points for that. But his complex backstory is what truly makes Obito's character so great. As a young Uchiha, Obito did his hardest to achieve his goals, like getting through the academy, learning new jutsu, helping out the people around him. Even though he was an Uchiha, he had to work twice as hard to compete with the other students in the academy, and 10 times as hard to compete with his rival, Kakashi Hatake. Eventually, he gets through the academy and is assigned to the group with Kakashi, Rin, and Minato, where everything goes south as soon as they begin. Obito and Kakashi carelessly get Rin captured, and Obito sacrifices his life to protect Kakashi and Rin. Fortunately, he lives, but half his body is destroyed. Thankfully, Madara uses Hashirama cells to help his body recover, so once repaired, he leaves to go see Kakashi and Rin again. But he witnesses Rin getting stabbed by Kakashi right before his eyes, with Minato nowhere in sight, which was essentially the domino effect of putting him into despair. Along with more future events, Obito realizes that the shinobi world we live in is false, and that Tsukuyomi is the only option for a happy future. He then proceeds to kill his own sensei Minato, manipulate the Akatsuki into collecting the tailed beast for his own cause, plays a part in the Uchiha massacre, and was one of the final bosses in the 4th Great Ninja War. Obito was Mr. Worldwide during the plot of Shippuden. Also, he has one of the best fights in anime history against Kakashi. And when you compare Naruto and Obito, Obito is the Naruto who gave up on peace instead of persevering. Grew up without parents, wasn't the best in the academy, wanted to become Hokage. Obito's parallel with Kakashi and Naruto is amazing. You could really peel his character like an onion. Finally, the best antagonist in the big three, the ghost of the Uchiha himself, Madara Uchiha. No question at all, Madara deserves a top spot on this list. I genuinely couldn't name a flaw with his character. The only thing I wish is that he didn't get snubbed by Kage and Shippuden, but that's a plot issue, not character. Although spoken about a couple times in OG, we didn't get to see Madara himself until the 4th Great Ninja War, but man was he amazing. Madara's character design is amazing, Madara radiates Black Air Force energy, and his intro into the story was no exception. We watch this man spawn in and whoop about 1,000 different shinobi effortlessly, and then he takes on the 5 Kage and slap them silly. All the antagonists in Naruto have great backstories which help form their ideals, and Madara is no exception to this. Born into war, Madara was taught to hate the Senju clan as they were rivals to his Uchiha clan. Upon walking around a forest, Madara runs into a boy named Hashirama. The two boys end up getting along very well together and even speak about one day creating a village where it's protected from war. Unfortunately, one day their fathers catch on to the boys wandering and find out they've been communicating with the enemy and forbid the boys from seeing each other again. Sadly, the next time Hashirama and Madara would meet would be on the battlefield as the feud between the clans didn't end until they became older. Hashirama decided to step up to the plate and off himself in order to create peace since he was the new leader of the Senju clan. Madara couldn't allow that and decided to call truce and create peace between the Senju and Uchiha, where they then go on to create the Hidden Leaf Village. But Madara finds an old scripture that foretells the Uchiha clan getting massacred by the village. Upon reading this, Madara realizes the cycle of hatred would never end, and the only way to do so is through the infinite Tsukuyomi. Hashirama didn't agree with what scripture was saying and told Madara they'll find a way around it, but at this point, Madara had already made up his mind. Hashirama and Madara fought one last time, and Madara gets stabbed in the back and dies. After escaping the battle, Madara goes on to rescue and manipulate Obito, where he uses him as a puppet for his own bidding. After Obito successfully revives Madara with Kabuto's help, the two take on literally the entire shinobi world and somehow put out an outstanding fight. The speeches Madara was dishing out throughout the war was like no other, and he truly was the mastermind behind the Akatsuki. If you don't have Madara in your top 3, I'll consider you a hater. At the end of the day, the big 3 all have amazing antagonists, which helps keep their story entertaining and complex. If you don't agree with this order, make sure to mention it in the comments and give me your top 10 best antagonists in the big 3. Since we're still such a small channel, we read every single comment and will most likely reply to it as well. Regardless if you agree or not, make sure to like the video and subscribe for more content like this. I plan on streaming on Twitch in the near future, so if you want to see more content, head down to my Twitch and follow. Link in description. Thank you guys for watching, and as always, I'll see you in the next one. Take care.